Welcome back. So last time we discussed and talked about the first topic on land use, and we highlighted issues to do with physical farm planning and crop rotation. Now we go on to the subtopic environmental factors. Now on environmental factors, there are other factors that you were exposed to during Form 1 and Form 2, but at Form 3, we are going to be focusing on rainfall. And on this topic, we are going to be describing the distribution, effectiveness, reliability, intensity of the rainfall, and we will be focusing on Zimbabwe. So we also get to explain the effects of distribution and intensity of rainfall on agricultural activities. So the main skills and knowledge you need to get is on distribution, effectiveness, reliability, intensity of rainfall, and then agriculture activities in relation to distribution and intensity of rainfall. So the main notes that you can jot down as a student when you are revising this is on the discussion on how agricultural activities in Zimbabwe are influenced by rainfall. So now let's get into detail about this topic. So we are saying rainfall and its impact on agriculture activities. So I'm Zwai Fayoma Vunga, and today we explore the distribution, effectiveness, reliability, and intensity of rainfall and discuss how these factors influence the farming practices. So the session will help you in understanding these concepts and prepare for your exams. So we talked about the objectives, describe the distribution, effectiveness, reliability, and intensity of the rainfall in Zimbabwe. Explain the effects of rainfall distribution and intensity on agricultural activities. Discuss how agricultural practices in Zimbabwe are influenced by rainfall patterns. So now let's look into the first factor, that is understanding rainfall characteristics in Zimbabwe. So we first look at distribution. So rainfall distribution in Zimbabwe varies significantly across regions, and it's influenced by factors such as topography and proximity to the coast. Then we have regional patterns. So the northern Zimbabwe receives rainfall, often exceeding 1,000 milliliters annually, and the southern experience a lower rainfall, actually lower than maybe ranging between less than 600 millimeters. And then we have the high veld, which receives a moderate rainfall, typically between 800 millimeters and 1,000 millimeters. So we have different regions in Zimbabwe: Region 1, Region 2, Region 2, 2A, 2B, Region 3, Region 4, Region 5. So all these regions have different rainfall patterns based on the topography, the geographical location of each region, and then also the type of air masses that it receives, which are things that you learn in geography. So effectiveness of rainfall refers to how well rainfall meets the water, or let's say the water needs of the crops. So the factors affecting effectiveness of rainfall include the soil type, land management, and the timing of rainfall. For instance, well-timed rainfall that coincides with planting and growing season is more effective. So understanding the time in which rainfall, the season we receive rains, and then you plant in relation to the in relation to the day or which we will first have the downfall, or which will first have the first rains, then you plant. And then we also have continuous or consistent rain throughout the season. We also have more effect on what, on our crops. Like during this time, we have been affected by the El Nino impact due to the climate change. We have seen that some of the crops were affected because we did not receive enough rains. So that fact that we did not receive enough rains, it means the rainfall that we received was not effective enough to cater for our planting and our growing seasons. Thus, we have low rainfalls. And also, we look using that scenario on the El Nino, it also affects reliability. So what is reliability? Reliability refers to the predictability and consistency of rainfall patterns from year to year. So we were used to understand when we receive rains that most of our farmers in Zimbabwe grow their crops in October or during the first summer rains. But this time around, we received the rains, but they were not consistent enough throughout the growing season, thus the impact of the El Nino. So in Zimbabwe, rainfall reliability vary. The northern regions tend to have more consistent rainfall, whilst the southern and eastern parts may experience variability and some drought conditions. So in the eastern highlands, we have what we call the conventional rainfall. So in the southern part, places like Gonarejo and all that, we might have experience of variability in rainfall. And then we look into the intensity. Now, when we are looking at the intensity, it refers to the rate at which rainfall occurs. It is measured in terms of depth per unit time, such as millimeter per hour. So intensity can vary with short, heavy downpours or long, steady rains. So intense rainfall can lead to runoff and soil erosion. With low intensity, rainfall may not provide sufficient water for crops. We might need every long, steady rains. This will have enough infiltration rate which the soil will capture in the form of moisture, which can then be utilized by the crops. So this will then help also in terms of improving the availability of water in our crops. Then let's look into the effects of rainfall on agricultural activities. So distributions and agricultural impact. So regions with evenly distributed rainfalls can support continuous cropping throughout the year, whilst areas with an uneven distribution may require irrigation and or drought resistant crops. So you have learned about the regions that we have in Zimbabwe. So we have region 1, 2, and all these regions have different rainfall patterns. So what does that mean? It means the crops that we grow in region 2, right, we might grow maybe, let's say, those crops which are not really drought resistant. But if we are in southern parts, areas, for example, like Gonarejo, there, we might need to have drought-resistant crops due to the rainfall patterns that we have. So the implication is that areas with irregular rainfall may experience crop failure or reduced yields. Then effectiveness in agricultural impact. So effective rainfall during the growing season enhances crop growth and yields, whilst ineffective rainfall, for example during the dry periods like what we are experiencing now, the El Nino, may lead to poor crop performance, which is an experience that we have faced because now we have poor rainfall experience. We experience poor rainfall experiences. As a result, we have poor performances and also poor crop performance. So farmers may then need to adapt their schedules and use supplementary irrigation. So when you then that's when you begin to use things like pivot irrigation, drip irrigation, overhead irrigation to supplement rainfall. Then reliability and agricultural impact. So reliable rainfall patterns allow for better planning and harvesting schedules. Unreliable rainfall can lead to uncertainty and risk in farming. So the implication is that farmers in areas with unpredictable rainfall may need to diversify crops and invest in water storage solutions. Intensity and agricultural impact. So high density rainfall cause soil erosion and waterlogging, while low intensity rainfall might not adequately meet crop water needs. So the implication is that managing soil erosion and ensuring efficient water use becomes crucial. So we're looking now at the agricultural activities in relation to rainfall. So crop selection, adaptation. So when you look at the adaptation, farmers select crops based on rainfall patterns, choosing drought-resistant varieties in areas with low or irregular rainfall. In southern Zimbabwe, farmers may grow crops like millet or sorghum that are more tolerant to dry conditions. Then irrigation practices. In regions where unreliable rainfall, irrigation systems are used to supplement water needs. So drip or sprinkler systems are implemented to ensure crops receive adequate moisture. Then soil conservation. Farmers employ techniques to prevent soil erosion and manage runoff caused by intense rainfall. So contour plowing and terracing are used to manage water flow and reduce soil loss. Harvesting and storage. Adaptation. The timely harvesting is crucial in areas with unpredictable rainfall to avoid losses from sudden rain events. So for example, farmers may use weather forecasting tools to plan harvest and protect crops from adverse weather. So in summary, we can say understanding the distribution, effectiveness, reliability, and intensity of rainfall is essential for effective agricultural planning and management in Zimbabwe. Adapting agricultural practices to these factors can reduce or can help optimize crop production and ensure sustainability. So keep these concepts in mind as you prepare for your exams and consider how rainfall patterns impact various farming aspects of in Zimbabwe, and also understand the regions that you know, so that you can be able to relate the rainfall patterns, the type of crop production that are done there, which will help you in understanding the effects of rainfall distribution and its impact on agriculture. Thank you for joining today's tutorial. Best of luck with your studies, and remember to review these topics regularly. Stay focused and confident. So for online tutorials, contact us on +263 782 108 484. Even as a resource person, you can contact us so that we can provide tutorials to your students as they prepare for exams. Thank you.